for a fast run. You know what I mean? Bad boys who build good roads. Bad boys who build good roads. Bad boys who build good roads and cheese.
What we have here is a failure to communicate.
Oh my God, I love that voice. That's Mac right there, baby. Pat Horgan, Thunder Road Band. We're 90 seconds away from topic number 1. Oh, yeah. Alan Dershowitz.
Serving time on the man's dime. You know what I mean? The county line is a safe line. You know what I mean? Bad boys who build good roads. Bad boys who build good roads. Bad boys who build good roads and trees.
Big shout out to Mike and Kelly in New Haven. Good day to you guys. All right, well, you guys will know. A lot of people who have listened to the show over the years, you know, I'm very, very interested and still very much connected, as much as I can be, to the community where I grew up, the people, the ideas, what we were taught. Whoa, what do you... I see a lot of shadow. Really? Are you, you're shadowy today, huh? Is that how you're doing it? No, now you're way too hot on that light. Boy, you know, I look up for 1 second. All of a sudden, it's a big showstopper. You know, Corby's waiting on her topic now. You think you could have it ready? Yeah, look at this. You're burning out the retinas of the camera there, buddy. Is that better? A little bit. Oh, my God, you look like hell, too. It's Monday. All right. The old neighborhood, big part of my life, and people who know me know that. So when a kid I grew up with, very smart kid, I would have listened to as a kid also. When she asks me this fiery, red-hot question about Alan Dershowitz, it's extraordinary how many areas this resonates with beyond just the headlines of the news. First things first, Jeffrey Epstein, right, is the new nadir of human behavior, the new unspeakable human, right? This is what the news and the police and the authorities have told us. He replaces Harvey Weinstein, who, serial overweight rapist, the fat, sweaty, middle of the night predator, has been replaced in the public's eye as who is the worst human being, not even just psychologically demented, but someone who chooses to be this evil predator on young girls. He's now center stage. And who is in the picture with him? I can't imagine how people must feel who even were in the same room with this guy once. I don't know what that filthy, disgusting sensation is all about. But Jeffrey Epstein is one of a kind, it seems so far. Not really. I mean, that's an overstatement also. But this idea of hanging around girls' high schools and preying on girls in high school, and he's a grown man. Come to my house, give me a massage, I'll get you in the modeling business. Take off your shirt. It's really. Do you remember the movie Death Wish? Charles Bronson and a very young Jeff Goldblum assaulting Hope Lang? Yeah. It takes you back. My dad took me to see that at the Palace. We saw Death Wish. And I remember coming out of that movie, already being a criminal justice major, saying, oh, my God, we really do have to do more than just go to court on this. Something is really going to have to happen in the streets. It was like the Old West. So here we are, fast forward, how many years after Death Wish, right? Like 40? Find out about this guy. And then to Corby's question, Corby's outrage. Alongside of this predator, I mean, it's sad, it's pathetic, it's, disgusting. But you would expect, when you hear about Bill Clinton, you go, oh, God. All right, don't start me. I don't want to hear that all over again. It's not the 1990s. Disgusting, but why am I not surprised? Then you hear a name that is not some womanizing folk hero. Clinton in half of America, they go, well, I cheated and I did, and who's he? What's this on his lip? And it's too disgusting for me. It really was horrible. I was living in L.A. at the time. I was on KLSX and KABC before that. It went over like nothing in Los Angeles. He did nothing. They didn't find any reason to frown, much less to, condemn or anyway. So now you have, out of nowhere, a guy who plays a role in society. Right, Corby? I hope she's listening. If not, she'll listen on the rebroadcast. The guy has always played a role in society. Alan Dershowitz has always played that role. Goes on television, innocent till proven guilty in the most extreme and compelling circumstances. When it looks like the system has run amok, it's always a guy like Alan Dershowitz who would come in and turn the system upside down for one guy. I shouldn't say one guy, one defendant, the individual rights of an American citizen were so much more important than any statute in the building drafted by the bicameral legislature. This is a very powerful idea when I was a young law student. So Lawrence Tribe, by the way, who's in the news all the time, speaking of law school, when I was in my second semester, everybody had Larry Tribe's textbook, and I was always a little hesitant. I have no idea what that is, but here I am, a much more mature individual, and I see Larry Tribe on television, and he clearly is with one tribe and not the other. It's incredible. The guy is so political that, for me, it dilutes all of his legal genius in writing these books. Who knows how genius it was? These are books about subjects that nobody was really interested in besides them, and they wrote them, and they did fine for themselves. But I'm not sure of the value of any of this pontificating. So let's just put it in being a law professor and being a famous name in American jurisprudence doesn't mean anything else about a person. So Dershowitz, not quite Larry Tribe, I'm not trying to say that, but he is the guy all the way back in the Ted Koppel days on Nightline that would pop up and he would remind America, innocent till proven guilty is what makes us civilized. That is the act of civilization, when you are assumed innocent in society. Who knows what your brother-in-law thinks of you? So, Okay, you guys can come in, but you got to sit down right away. I don't want any. Yeah. Oh, it's some good chock-full of nuts coffee, isn't it? For everybody. Give them all coffee. Give them the hush-hush, right? They sit there, they look at the lake. Don't you love our green room? When you come to the Ed Tyll Show and you're in the green room, you are living life to the fullest, aren't you? Look at that green room. All right, look, it's 22 after. I'm late on the break. I'm doing a quick break. I got to come right back to Corby. She's been waiting all weekend to hear us talk about this. She may even join us, but I haven't opened up the phone yet. So anybody who's dialing right now, you're going to get the Ed Tyll Show answering service, which is automated. You don't want that. Are they seated? Get them coffee, crumpets, whatever you need. Yeah. Room looks good in there. I looked at it today, so I know they're in comfort and cleanliness. Somebody spilled a beer. I don't want to talk about that last week, but somebody knows who. Yes, it was you. Okay. All right, so quick break. Our good buddies at Gulf Business Forums, they love you. You are a small business person on Monday. You remind me of Karen is the realtor Monday. You know what the life is like of a realtor on Monday? Everybody changes their mind off of Sunday. Checks bounce, deposits don't go through, documents are not returned, signatures are only half done. I needed 6 signatures. You put 3 on here. It's a horrible Monday mop-up in any small business, but I happen to know that being a realtor in Florida for decades, it's where the rubber meets the road in small business. A lot of people are becoming small business people now. You know, in the post-recession America, which they say another one is coming, I doubt it, the small business person has endured through all of this. What you do, nobody else does. Your clients love you. Your challenge is, can you make more money from your small business? Gulf Business Forums is the answer. Go to gulfforums.com. Gulfforums.com is where you go. First of all, they get it. They're like you. They're small business people. They're on board with the stress and the pressure Monday morning. I'm sure you get to the office, which is now in your kitchen. Everybody has an office in their pocket. Everybody's on the phone. 10 minutes after you're awake, you're on the phone, working your small business. Gulf Business Forums will help you. Let them help you make more money from your small business. Gulf Business Forums, do you tell them you heard about it here on the Ed Tyll Show? All right, that was the 15 break, by the way, which is now the 13 break. Everybody's all over you on Monday. You like this music? Beautiful. All right, we're talking about this horrible juxtaposition in America. This is what you get when it's a free country. So Corby and I, we went to a good school, and we studied when we were kids, not just mathematics and geography. That wasn't all we did. We went to Catholic school, right and wrong. Now, there's a million things wrong with every apparatus of teaching right and wrong. So I don't want to get sidetracked and, just remember, all kids, every generation, you need some right and wrong. Ours was you looked up at that crucifix, because the crucifix didn't do anything to anybody. The priests are the ones that molested the kids, not the crucifix. Crucifix did nothing wrong. So the crucifix, the 10 Commandments, the resurrection, all of these things when we were kids were reminders to us, you must do the right thing, children. It isn't enough to have money and lollipops and stickball games and birthday parties, and in a year or so, the Beatles are going to come from England. That's not enough. You do have to do the right thing by other people. Here are the rules. The long form of the 10 Commandments and the short form are, Jesus came and summarized them, but this is your deal. So from that early age, we know no matter how important helping an old lady cross the street or donating money for the children in Biafra or some kind of do-good act, even more important than that, is who we are and how we live. Who we are, it's unbelievable, could be worth more, be more important than what we do. We live in a world that tells us the opposite, right? Corby is listening or hearing this on the replay. She knows. We all know. You turn on that boob tube, and the boob tube is on the phone, the computer. It's everywhere. The YouTube is a boob tube because they'll all come at you and start pushing you in directions of things. Innocent till proven guilty. OJ's trial. Back into history, this is what's always been the focal point of a society, a civilization. What do you do with Socrates in the old days? What do you do with these people today? And we, America, the one that we were born into, the country that was reaching its apex in terms of how many people were living their lives in freedom, making their own choices. Fantastic. In the middle of all of that, we're trying to do the best we can. In the middle of all of that, people will come along who have great contributions to society. They do very heavy lifting for the group, and it turns out they themselves personally are a threat, a problem, and maybe, this is, I think, what made Corby right. Maybe all the good that a guy like Alan Dershowitz would do, inspiring me as a young law student in the 70s, people seeking justice in America for others, saying to themselves, wow, if this guy can hold a principle and make it that effective and that strong, look at the good we can do. If that can happen, yet in the middle of a fantastic set of principles, these things about freedom, that Dershowitz is always on TV about, right? He's always on about Fifth Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Sixth Amendment. You know what all of these are. The due process that an American citizen gets. If they want to do something to an American citizen, and they are the county, the state, or the federal government, there are rights given to the citizen. We know civics class. And they're numerous, and those rights, have nothing to do with the person they're protecting. This is one of the great dilemmas. It comes up on every topic. I'm so glad that Corby brought it up right now. You got in the middle of the Jeffrey Epstein case, a guy who has been a pillar of strength when it comes to freedom and defending the American citizen. But all of a sudden, for you, me, Corby, a lot of people, we're living the life I just told you about a moment ago. We're doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because it's easy. And it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how cute your kids are, how sweet your home looks from across the street. None of that matters unless you're really doing the right thing. Isn't that what that movie? Do the right thing. What does he say? Call him brother or son, whatever. It's the old man talking to the kid. Do the right thing. Not a very eloquent statement, but yet it cuts to the heart of, you can have all the legalisms and all of the legal jousting that you want. And you can be the Michael Jordan of the law, the Mickey Mantle of the law. You could be the best there ever was. None of that matters if you, and this is a tie-in, I guess, to Pat Horgan and Spider-Man, one of the great lines from Stan Lee, to whom much is given, much is expected. So these great powers that you have, you absolutely cannot protect bad people, or in the worst case, I think this is why she wanted me to talk about it, it looks like Dershowitz is hanging around with doing the same kind of things Jeffrey Epstein It looks like he's in the crowd. Not just a legal advisor, not just a stanchion of American legal principle and freedom. That's all good for Nightline. I love Ted Koppel. He's still on Sunday mornings once in a while with my other love, Jane Pauley. God, if the world could have kept going with people like that, but they're long gone. So here he is on TV. They're all looking at the guy Dershowitz, and now Corby, like myself, confronted with how disgusting the dichotomy can be. How somebody, you don't want to think someone who makes a big scientific breakthrough is also torturing cats or having sex with underage kids, as being a sexual predator is one of the worst things you can do with American freedom. Because America is very sexually charged to begin with. It's already a bunch of landmines out there. So it's a predator's paradise in certain areas of our society, all predicated on freedom. And the irony that this guy has stood for freedom and individuals for so long and is now standing in the crowd that he's in. She wrote something on that Facebook. I am of two minds about social media, I have to say, Corby, because you look like you know how to use it. As a matter of fact, I know that you're very good at social media because, like me, you're very outspoken. And it doesn't bother you when you're not in the majority. As long as you feel that what you're saying is important, it doesn't matter. I'm the same way, and I got the resume to prove it. I've got the license plates to prove it, living all over the country for that independence. But hey, that's what we do. But at the same time, there is a part of us, and I know I'm feeling it right now. I wonder if you are. Why do we have to constantly be on the lookout? And before you finish the question, Corb, do you remember? I wonder if Bobby Rogers is listening, because Bobby is friends with Pat. Pat listens a lot. I did put out a thing that we were going to talk about this. It'd be great if Bobby was listening to. It's like the old neighborhood hanging out again. But you have to say to yourself at some point, why am I on the lookout for? Why is no one doing anything, catching? What's going on here? Like, we have a system, we can load up these jails with certain categories of people, routinely arresting and convicting and swelling up the jail population, which is a big issue now. Yet, on the other hand, you and I, on whether it's Facebook or Twitter, a lone voice shouting about these issues. Why would that be? Why? It makes no sense. We have artificial intelligence. You watch 60 Minutes a couple of weeks ago. It's just going to take over. The Tesla is going to drive you to work. What is it? Why is this area so poorly policed? Better word. I almost chose an insufficient term there. And Corby, I have one answer only, and I hope it's good. Hope it's the right answer, because I love you. I love what you are saying. I love the energy with which you want to call attention to this Dershowitz involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, this dark, disgusting, ugly, damaging world. I have no idea how some of these kids survive the way they do after what this guy, and there's more. He's just famous and rich, and he lives on an important street, in Manhattan. So all of a sudden, we know a lot about this one guy. What about the thousands that will never be known? They're never going to be on the news. Yeah. Okay. So what is at the root of all of this? Jefferson said it. Ben Franklin knew it was going to be a problem. Jefferson, one thing you got to say about Jefferson, he may have his downsides, his detractors. But I think Jefferson, Ed Tyll, Corby, others, no matter what the consequences are going to be or the contradictory circumstances in our lives, you can't answer for every circumstance in your life. But you can answer for the moment that you're in. And Jefferson said the only way that you can do this experiment, the United States level of freedom, is with eternal vigilance. Jack Nicholson in that movie where You Can't Handle the Truth says, you want me on that wall. Somebody's got to be watching. This is the way human nature works. Look at the little squirrels and the bugs out there. And who was working in concert? Again, another animal group over the weekend. They're working together. I forgot. Last week it was that poor sea creature was all full of hooks. And he ambled up to some people in the water, like, help me get the hooks out. And they did. And it was like, look at that. So don't tell me that there's no intrinsic goodness. And until you come up with something better than Thomas Jefferson's advice, you better stay vigilant. Unless you can remember Jack Nicholson in the movie, you want me out there on that wall watching until we recognize it's inevitably going to be, whether we, I said, well, if we just did a better job. Oh, God, if we only did a better job of educating children about morality, if we had just gotten into the schools, if there was just a better talk that mom and dad could give at home. This is, beautiful dreaming. That's not reality. Reality is everybody's got to be watching out for certain things in a free society like this because the stakes are so high. We have to prioritize. Everything is not equal. We cannot treat everything the same way. We don't have a handbook for any of this. There is a reason mommy bear, daddy bear, little baby bear boy, baby bear girl. There's a reason for this. This wasn't made up for some person to subjugate lesbians and transsexuals and whoever else gets offended by the nuclear family. I know you're very offended. There's a dictatorial, an oppressive. They love to say they're oppressed, All the people who have contempt and big problems, and in their mind, there's something wrong with traditional American values. And I'm here to say they're at work and alive and well. Value number one is Corby saying, I want to hear you talk about this. You got some talk show. You're supposed to be a smart guy. I want to hear you talk about this. That's number one value. Number one value is stepping right up when there's a big problem. When you see something awful, you step up and you do something. You don't retreat. Now, if you've ever ridden a subway in New York City, if you have ever ridden the railroad in any of our great metropolises, the American experience has in it many examples of people being able to look the other way. There's a famous case in New York City courts where a woman was being beaten to death in her apartment, and the window was open, and the whole courtyard heard the woman getting beaten to death. It was a loud, screaming, beating. Kitty something is the name of the case, her first name. And anyway, the case showed no one called the police. The entire apartment building courtyard, about 3 or 4 buildings, windows open, hot weather, no one called. In a Catholic, Presbyterian, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, everybody in the neighborhood went to church. Everybody from Vishnu to the Blessed Virgin all heard from that very same day, they went to church. Of all, a mosque the day before, Shabbat. It's just, it's the weekend. Spiritual people find their Sabbath on the weekend. And there were no more dedicated religious people than in that neighborhood. This is almost 100 years ago, people. Okay. So when Corby lights a fire under me about not just the Jeffrey Epstein case, which is unspeakable enough on its own, you could just vomit off of Jeffrey Epstein alone. Are we coming up on another break? We are. Corby, you got to forgive me. I got to do a break here. It's a quickie, though, so we won't be away long. Yeah, Alan Dershowitz. You see, the thing is, you got a figure who has always associated himself with battling for the individual. The problem is, he may now be the actual criminal, and whom he's associating with is so incredibly unspeakable. I don't know what to tell you about that. All right, so we got calls coming in? Yeah. All right, I got to do stuff here. I got to do a commercial. So you want to grab the call? Grab the call. Let me see if you can you just grab it though? You're not grabbing it. What the hell's going on here? You can't grab this call. You let the call go. What in God's name is going on here? I don't understand. Why did you not get that call? I don't see it on there at all, baby doll. Wow. So what'd you do? You did. You let that call. I can't. I thought you were interning. What are you on? What is going on this morning? Wake up. I'm trying to service the people listening. I can't keep looking at your crap over here now. Look, this is going to be the last week of the internship. I've given you this week to shape it up, man. But you saw what happened when we opened. Now this thing over, you can't get even in one single incoming call. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it now on my headset, okay? Shh. Turn off your talking side. I don't want to hear anything from you. I'm simply instructing you. This is not any kind of interactive experience here. Now I have to go. We're doing a break. Boy, this is, guys are hilarious on Monday over here, huh? Oh, yeah. So this is the other thing, right. On top of that, you only have one of these working over here. Look at you. Look at you, man. Where's your files from before you close those two? You are one... this is what I'm saying. You take way too much risk from broadcast. I don't get it. Why would you have that closed? After everything I've gone over with you, why would that be closed? Oh, my God. You are really... Is this what we're doing today with you? You're becoming a big pain in the ass. I got to tell you that right now. All right, I'm grabbing this call. You better have that theme ready when I come back. All right, let's see who this is. Yeah, hang on 1 second. I don't know why he's got this music on. Hold on. Jesus Christ almighty. Don't you people pay any attention?
It's okay. Ed,
oh, here we go. Now I can hear him.
Out, so
there he is. Yeah, now I can hear you. Who is this, by the way?
This is Al the Mailman.
Oh, Al the Mailman. See, you kids are lucky now. I could have fired the both of you. Al the Mailman is here. I'm going to be nicer to you because Al the Mailman called. But the two of these over here, I got the two worst. They pay no attention. Al, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Ed, thank you very much. Been a long-time listener. Been kicked out from parks in Matthews Park in the Bronx from you.
Oh, God.
But with the phone call, my cell phone crapped out, so it wasn't even their fault.
Okay. All right, good. So I won't hold them responsible. So
Don't fire them yet.
All right. Did you hear me earlier? I'm talking about a girl that went to my elementary school. She's a year older than me when I'm a kid. She wrote to me over the weekend And I'm talking about her topic. Did you know that was what was going on, a thing from the old neighborhood?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I remember all of that. Yeah, and it brought back a lot of memories.
You know, God, I love hearing your voice, man. It's Monday, and in my neighborhood on Mars Park Avenue, near Matthews Park, Monday was not that bad. Today, Monday is horrible for people. They go into therapy about Monday. Monday was a pretty good day in our old neighborhood, Al.
Well, we were growing up, Ed, and we really didn't have work to go to. Maybe we'd skip a couple school days, but now we're adults. We got things, we got obligations. We got families. We got kids, that are in houses that need help also. I mean, it's a different time, and the world today is not like it was years ago where people used to help each other. If they had a neighbor in need, there was those neighbors that would help you.
Right. Also there wasn't, I don't mean just the politics. Now, politics right now is a pretty red hot category. But all in all, the general aggravation level of people was a lot lower in our neighborhood, and our neighborhood was working class. They had a lot of responsibilities. They couldn't make the bills on time every single time. But the tension wasn't so oppressive, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, my brother. Well, this is great hearing your voice. I love you on the social media. It is so nice of you to say hello today. Anything else you want to mention before I go?
When I heard you, I think it was in Delaware 3 weeks ago, and you were talking about one of your aunts passing away. I'm really sorry about that. I know Aunt Addie's still alive, but you were talking about another aunt. I think it was
my Aunt Florence on my dad's side.
Florence.
But
I did hear you scaling that roof and scaling the building. It was the best.
Ah, thank you. That is so nice of you to mention. Wow, that's another thing that my neighborhood is big on. How's your Aunt so-and-so doing? How's your mother? How's your Uncle Pete? How's your Aunt Loretta? What about your cousin who got that boat? How did they do? What about the one that moved out to Indiana? Oh, they came back. Oh, my God, Al, thank you so much. This is always a pleasure to hear from you.
Orlando on one of the stations here.
I can't say anything about it, but between you and me, I am actually working on precisely that. I can't say it's not a station you could look up right now. There is a broadcast company that is starting something, and they are including me in consideration of what they're doing. So cross your fingers. It would be so nice. I'm over here on the coast right now. I moved down.
I'm going to Fort Lauderdale next week. I don't know what coast you're on, but I'm going to Fort Lauderdale next weekend.
I'm actually on the Space Coast. I'm a couple of hundred miles north of Fort Lauderdale. See, I used to go down the Elbow Room many years ago. I used to go to Fort Lauderdale, right? As a matter of fact, I was in Fort Lauderdale less than a year ago. Very good friend of mine from high school lives in Boca Raton. Another favorite place of mine. All right, well, you're going to have a great time in Lauderdale. That's nice. So you and I will be in the same state while you visit. And
well, I'm still in the state, Ed. I'm in Orlando.
Oh, that's
right.
Maybe
we'll meet at Coconuts one day.
Oh, you know something? That you got a deal. I did a promotion at Coconuts. I'm going to guess it was 1994, 1995. I still have photographs. That would be a terrific. It'd be my pleasure to buy you lunch at Coconuts. We sit there and
That's when I met you.
All right, there you go. Wow.
That's when I met you at Coconuts.
Wow, that's the first time we met. Oh, my God, look at this.
Yeah, my wife was there with me and everything. She still remembers you.
Alphonse, you are killing me.
Love you, man.
You're killing me with
the
love.
I love you, brother.
I love you, too. People say to me, see, this is the proof. Corby, if you're listening, now you know why. Horrigan has been on the show forever. He gets this. Mike and Kelly have been with me through the Starcom days. They get it. But if you don't know me, if you are new to the show, that is the lesson, all you need to know. That's it. We are looking out for each other from the moment we meet and we connect. Now, You hear the affection in Al the Mailman's voice. You hear him talking about his wife and me and meeting. We're talking about 25 years ago now. 1994, 1995, quarter of a century. But this is why I'm on. The guy says to me the other day, I don't understand. You could retire and go to Italy with George Clooney on Lake Como. You could do anything you want to do now. You're healthy. I said, I am. You know, knock wood. I shouldn't even say it out loud. But I haven't even been admitted to a hospital in my adult years, right? So, ever. Never fully admitted. There's a title. So I think there's something to that. I think when you wrap it all together, there's a certain thing about health and living right and caring. I care about Al. I care about, I love Corby. Corby and Barbara, two gals that went to school together. I believe they're 1 year ahead of me. They, elementary school. They either came out to a comedy show or they hooked up with me before or after a show. But I know we sat around one evening talking about me going into comedy, and I had just started doing it full time for a while, which was post 9/11. A lot of us just felt like you had to get out there with audience. That this is exciting. I mean, this is really exciting. You heard that last call. And it's all about the things that make us who we are. But right after 9/11, every industry was shaken. 9/10, I was on WOR, one of the great radio stations of my life, in the 80s, WABC. Fantastic experiences. But I think post 9/11, there was even more required of those of us who had some kind of verbal connection with people, had some kind of way with words, and you wanted to, you want to make people laugh, and you want to lighten their load. You want to give them, some kind of experience with you for a few minutes on stage or here on the show. And you want that to work for them. You want to say, here, how's that change? Oh, yeah, man, you put me in a better mood. Job done. Job done. Most often in the old days, it was in the car. You're so tense in the car. You're getting cut off. You got lights. You're late for things. The car's making noise. The air conditioning isn't perfect. You're running out of gas. You're hungry. Millions of irritants in the car. We do very well in the car. But America has transformed. Now, we have irritants everywhere we go. If you're carrying the phone with you at all times, then you know what I mean. It's never not with you. So that's where we come in. On your phone, EDTYLL.com. That's all you need. Type it in, and we have you. And when we're taking phone calls, we love hearing from you. Now, Al's a great guy. He already had the number and called in to say, hey. But if you have us on your phone, if you're listening on the phone, then you know. The minute I say something wrong and you have to correct me, happens. Hundreds of times per show. Oh, my God, did he? And then usually, people, I didn't hear you say the first part. Okay. But it's good. We're interacting. We're in touch. We're making sure we're looking out for each other. This is what this entire hour has been. Dedicated to Corby, when I was a kid, a smart kid, who says, how in God's name is this guy getting away with Dershowitz hanging around with Epstein? And how is Epstein walking around on planet Earth all this time? Who's been protecting Epstein? Could it be the guy who all of us in law school and students of the law, we admired him because he was standing up for the Fourth Amendment and the Fifth Amendment and the zealous defense of everyone under the law if he was actually himself a predator? Not unlike, at all, not unlike the bond of trust in so many communities, and in the most sacred of the locations in every community, the little church down the street. How in God's name, how in anybody's world was that able to happen and nobody knew about it? It makes no sense at all. But it did, right? It did. And the same thing with Jeffrey Epstein. It did, right?
Grew up working class in a place they call the Bronx. Learned on the corner about the school of hard knocks. Found out his rap could be his salvation. Well, now he's talking all across the nation. It's the Ed Tyll Show. It's the Ed Tyll Show. Come on, everybody. It's Ed Tyll. Now that you tuned him in, you know what I mean. People call him up, discussing every scene. Love him or hate him, he's gonna have his say. He's gonna speak his mind each and every day. It's the Ed Tyll Show. It's the Ed Tyll Show. Come on, everybody. It's Ed Tyll. Yeah.
Okay, it is the Ed Tyll Show, hour number 2, coming straight away. The let's see. I think we have a guest tomorrow. We have a couple of guests coming up this week, so I will let you know what's going on with that. I have more to update you on, though. There it is. Yeah. Oh, you guys are very funny. Okay, so let me do the break. We're back in 60 seconds on the Ed Tyll Show here, live on edtyll.com. Your local stations, especially our Starcom guys, are going to break for news.